So you've got this world-changing idea, right? But maybe you haven't written a single line of code, and you definitely don't have any revenue. How in the world do you get a venture capitalist to even look your way? Well, that is the big question we're going to tackle. All right, let's just bust a huge myth right out of the gate. If you think the key to getting that early funding is showing off revenue numbers, you're completely focused on the wrong thing. In fact, you're not even asking the right question. And this right here shows the massive gap between what founders think they need and what VCs are actually looking for. So many of us get stuck on that left side, chasing revenue, trying to build a perfect product, and hoping for big numbers. But at this super early stage, VCs are hunting for something way more subtle, something more fundamental. They're looking for the stuff on the right: signals, proof, and momentum. So this means we have to totally rethink how we approach pre-seed fundraising. It's not about your fancy financial models or your spreadsheets. It's really about pattern recognition. VCs are trying to spot those early, powerful signs that tell them, hey, something real is happening here. And this really nails the mindset shift you have to make. You got to forget about scale, forget about big results for now. Your one and only job is to provide proof. Proof that you're actually solving a problem people care about, proof that you're gaining momentum, and proof that you're taking smart, thoughtful steps forward. Okay, let's dive into our first signal, because this is where it all starts. Before you write any code, before you even finalize a pitch deck, it begins with having a crystal clear insight. The very first thing an investor is trying to figure out is just how deeply you get the problem you're trying to solve. So, I want you to ask yourself this right now. Can you talk about your user's pain in a way that makes it feel totally real, super urgent, and honestly, pretty painful? We're not talking about a small inconvenience here. We're talking about a headache they feel every single day. If you can do that, you're already sending a powerful signal. And the funny thing is, the best insights are never complicated. In fact, the sharper your insight is, the simpler it sounds. It's the kind of idea that makes an investor just pause and think, wow, that makes so much sense. Why doesn't that exist already? And that kind of clarity, it only comes from having real conversations with real users. All right, let's move on to signal number 2, early momentum. Now, this is where a lot of founders get totally stuck. I mean, how are you supposed to show progress when you don't even have a product to show off? Well, the answer is all about demonstrating that you have pull from the market, even before you've built anything. This quote really gets to the heart of it. Investors are looking for those very first signs of tension, the first few people who hear what you're doing and they lean in and say, please build that for me. That kind of organic user pull is a much, much stronger signal than some slick product demo that nobody ever asked for. Seriously, forget about a landing page with thousands of email signups from people you don't know. All you need is this: 5. Just 5 real people who have looked you in the eye and said, I genuinely need this. Tell me when it's ready. The passion from just that handful of people is a way stronger signal than most founders ever realize. And you show this momentum by telling a super simple story. It goes like this. Here's what we thought was true. Here's how we tested it. Here's what we learned from that test. And so, here's what we're doing now. This little narrative proves to an investor that you're not just spinning your wheels. You're learning, you're iterating, you're moving forward. It proves you can make the car go. Trust me on this, an investor would much rather hear the stories from your user interviews, the direct quotes, the frustrations, those light bulb moments, than see a beautiful pixel-perfect mock-up that hasn't been validated by a single real user. Those stories are the proof. Okay, let's shift gears and talk about our third signal. This one is especially crucial if you're building something technical, like an AI or robotics or any kind of hard tech. It's all about your defensible edge. This is how you signal that you're not just building a feature, you're building a company with long-term value. Now, when you hear the word moat, don't start thinking about something you'll build 5 years from now. There's this myth that defensibility is something you worry about later. The truth is, your moat starts on day 1. It's born from your unique insight, or a new way you collect data, or your special approach to the problem. And look, this isn't just theory. Your early moat could be a really clever way you collect data that no one else has. Or maybe it's a new training process for your AI model. It could even be filing a provisional patent on your core idea. Each of these is a huge signal of seriousness that tells an investor this isn't just a cool project. It's the start of a truly defensible business. Which brings us to the final, and honestly, the most critical signal of all: you. At this stage, your prototype is going to change, your marketing plan will definitely change, but how you think, how you learn, and how you execute, that's what an investor is really betting on. This is probably the single most important thing to remember. VCs know that ideas change, but your habits, your pace, your clarity, those things tend to stick around. They are betting that whatever happens, you're the one who can figure it out. They are investing in you. So how do you signal that you're the right bet? Well, it's through your execution, even without a product. It's the momentum you're building in user interviews. It's the way you're knocking down the biggest risks before you even write code. It's showing up to a meeting with a deck that's way sharper than it was a month ago. That's what shows them how you operate. But here is a common mistake. Assuming all that hard work just speaks for itself. It doesn't. Investors are seeing dozens of pitches a week. Your job isn't just to build these signals. You have to frame them. You have to connect the dots for them and spell out exactly why your progress is so important. So look, it all really boils down to this. In every single pre-seed meeting, the VC on the other side of the table is silently asking themselves these 3 questions. They're looking for your crystal clear insight, your defensible edge, and any little sign of early movement. You don't have to have a perfect yes for all 3, but even one strong yes can change the entire conversation. So, the most important takeaway here is to just shift your focus. Stop asking what you need to launch and start asking what you need to prove. So let's end with this question for you to think about. Forget about your product for a minute. What signals are you actively building right now?